You are probably familiar with the 7 baby steps by Dave Ramsey, and if not, do yourself a favor and go read his book, The Total Money Makeover. Now, although Dave shares some really valuable information, it is mostly applicable to US citizens. So for us South Africans, it is sometimes a little bit difficult to know for sure how to manage our money well, especially when terms like a 401k, HSA, Roth IRA, IRS and JLO are thrown around. I mean, WTF? Why the FAIS? So I thought, listen, let me create a South African version of the 7 baby steps to try and help anyone who is starting out with their investment journey to get on the right track. Although finances can sometimes feel quite complicated and daunting, it really doesn't have to be. I want to simplify everything for you by applying the 80-20 Pareto principle, which essentially means that 20% of the effort will get you 80% of the results. So today we will be focusing on that 20% part. Now these principles will help most people develop good financial habits, and that is the whole point of this video. This video is not sponsored by anyone. It contains my raw, unfiltered, objective opinions based on my 3 years experience as a DIY investor, as well as my knowledge as a registered financial advisor. So remember, this is not direct financial advice, but rather factual information and financial education to help you become more responsible with your money and to avoid silly financial mistakes. Right, so with that out of the way, let's gooi 'em. Baby step number 1, SAFA edition. Save 10,000 Rand in your emergency fund. With only a 0.5% average savings rate, less than 6% of middle income South Africans have enough emergency savings on hand. Now you won't build a house on sand, right? Likewise, you should not be investing before you have a strong foundation in place. An emergency fund should be the first thing that you need to focus on before anything else. Why? 2 main reasons. If something bad happens, like your car breaking down, your geyser bursting, or your pet falling ill, which might cost a lot of money, having free cash available will save you from needing to go into credit card debt or taking out a personal loan. This also prevents you from being forced to cash out your investments, which might lead to you selling them at a capital loss or to pay unnecessary taxes. Now, I've made a detailed video on what you need to consider when opening an emergency fund if you want to learn more, but to simplify things, I would just open a savings account at my current bank and transfer whatever I can save at the end of every month until I have about 10,000 Rand saved up. Do not use this money to buy dumb shit which you think is on special. That is not an emergency. If you really do need to use some of these funds, you need to first stop all of the other steps and first top it up again. Baby step 2, pay off all of your short-term debt. Now, once you have 10,000 Rand saved up in your bank savings account, the next step is to attack your short-term debt as aggressively as possible. This includes credit cards, store cards, overdrafts, personal loans, and temporary loans. These little buggers will typically charge you an interest rate between 16 and 29% per year, and trying to build wealth with a bunch of bad debt dragging you down is similar to trying to drive a car with the handbrake in the upright position. You may move, but it will be slow and painful. And seeing that most South Africans spend more than 75% of their take-home pay on debt, this is a serious issue that needs to change. So, in order to do this, list all of your debt on an Excel document or a paper with the following details: type of debt, provider, outstanding balance, interest rate, and minimum monthly payment. You can find all of these details on your monthly loan statement. Now, there are 2 main methods for paying off debt: the avalanche method and the snowball method. With both these methods, you need to make the minimum payments on all of your cards and loans. But where the difference comes in is that with the avalanche method, you attack the credit card or the loan with the highest interest rate first, and then once that is paid off, you use the extra cash flow to pay off the card with the second highest interest rate. You rinse and repeat this process until all your debt is paid off. With the snowball method, on the other hand, you target the card or the loan with the smallest outstanding balance first, and once that is paid off, you use the extra cash to pay off the second smallest outstanding balance, and so forth, thereby creating a little snowball effect. Both these methods work well, The avalanche method makes more financial sense because you save the most money in the end, but the snowball method helps you achieve these small little wins early on, which will help keep you motivated. Choose one and commit to it. Don't forget to continue making the minimum payments on all your card, and once a card is paid off, cancel that card, cut it up, and close that bloody bank account. This will help you save on some banking fees, which can then be used to pay off the next card. This also goes without saying, but stop using your credit cards completely and rather swipe your debit card or use cash to make your purchases. If you've ended up in a bad debt spiral, then you first need to learn how to use these tools responsibly. So the first step is to learn how to get by without using them at all. Baby step 3, pump up that emergency fund. Now, once you have paid off all your credit cards, personal loans, and store cards, you now need to boost your emergency fund. Typically, you would want to have enough saved up to cover at least 3 months worth of living expenses. So download your banking statements for the previous 3 months on all of your accounts, write down each little transaction, categorize them according to the categories on the screen. You can pause the video if you want to take a screenshot, and then calculate the average for each category. Yes, it seems like effort, but if you truly want to be successful financially, you need to understand where your money is actually going. Now, based on these numbers, multiply your average monthly expenses by 3, and this should then give you an idea of what should be saved up in your entire emergency fund. Now, if you are married with kids or you have some other financial dependents, then ideally you would want to save up around 6 months worth of living expenses, but just to start out and to make things a bit more attainable, 3 months is a good place to be. Now, I would personally keep 1 month's worth of expenses in my bank savings account and then place the other 2 months emergency fund in a money market unit trust. Again, I made another video that compares the best money markets available to South Africans, but if I had to choose one, it would be the money market from Signia Investments. The bank savings account will allow you to have instant access to extra cash in the case of an immediate emergency, and the money market fund will give you a little bit of a better interest rate on your savings. I found this combo to work the best for me, as it will take about 2 to 3 business days for the funds to be paid in your bank account from a money market fund, thereby preventing you from dipping into your emergency fund for, dumb shit. Baby step 4. Open and invest in a tax-free savings account. Now, once your 3-month emergency fund is in place and you've paid off all of your short-term debt, you can now start focusing all of your attention on investing. You should always prioritize saving for retirement first, as the government will not take care of you and you do not want to be an unnecessary burden on your family if you have to one day stop working. And the first investment vehicle that I would consider is hands down a tax-free savings account. Within this account, you pay no taxes on the growth of your investments, and you can also one day withdraw the investments tax-free. These tax savings will have massive compounding effects over the long term, so do not sleep on this investment. Now again, I would keep it simple. I would open a tax-free savings account at Easy Equities and just buy one well-diversified global equity ETF, such as the Cautious Total World. I will include a link to a step-by-step tutorial on how to open an account with Easy Equities, as well as a video that explains why I like this specific ETF down in the description below. I would not keep my tax-free savings account at any of the banks, as they are close to zero tax benefit to earning interest in a tax-free savings account for most people. Now, it is important to know that the maximum amount that you can contribute to a tax-free savings account is 36,000 Rand per year, and that you should never use this account as a transactional account. Whatever money you put into this account, you need to keep until retirement. This is very important. And if you want to learn why, then go and watch my videos on my tax-free savings account playlist. Now, note that I only mentioned investing in baby step 4. If you don't have any emergency fund savings and you are drowning in a bunch of bad debt, then you have no business buying trading bots, crypto, or even investing in the stock market. I know social media always paints the investing part as very exciting and sexy, but the reality is most South Africans should focus on the first 3 steps first, because that will result in them being far better off financially than trying to get scammed by the next get-rich-quick scheme social media guru. Bruh. Baby step 5. Open and invest in a retirement annuity. Alright, so if you now have more than 3,000 Rand per month available to invest, then the next investment vehicle that I would consider is a retirement annuity. Within this investment vehicle, your investments will also grow tax-free, and the money that you put into a retirement annuity will also lower your taxable income, which means you will essentially pay less taxes and likely get a tax refund from SARS. You will need to pay taxes one day once you withdraw money from the retirement annuity after the age of 55. So this is not completely tax-free like a tax-free savings account, but the tax-free growth on your investments is still powerful over the long run. So where would I open a retirement annuity and which funds would I buy? Again, to keep things simple, there are two main important things to consider. First up is the fees. I would personally stay away from policy-based retirement annuities which are connected to life insurance companies, as these are preloaded with heavy marketing and commission fees which will kill your long-term growth. Examples of these include the Cumulus Echo Retirement Annuity from Sanlam and the Discovery Retirement Optimizer from Discovery. In order to understand the total fees that you will pay on your investments, request what is called the effective annual cost or EAC of your investment. This should never be more than 3% per year, even with the most actively managed funds. If it is, then you are being taken for a ride and you should seek better advice. The second consideration is fund selection. Because retirement annuities are regulated by what is called Regulation 28, your fund choices are fairly limited. This means that it is rather difficult for active managers to really gain a competitive advantage over passive funds. So if I was just starting out, I would opt for a low-cost platform provider and invest in a low-cost passive fund such as the Skeleton Balance 70 Fund from Signia Investments. Again, I have a whole playlist where I talk all about retirement annuities, which I will link to below if you want to better understand how they work and what to look out for. In terms of how much to invest in an RA, it really depends. I would personally try to match what I put in a tax-free savings account, which is the 3,000 Rand per month. But if I was in a higher marginal tax bracket, meaning I earned more than 30,000 Rand per month, then I might consider investing a bit more in order to get that tax break. Baby step 6, invest in discretionary investments. Now, if you've maxed out your tax-free savings account contributions and you've contributed enough to your retirement annuity, the next option would be to open and invest in discretionary investments. These are basically everything that are not considered to be retirement investments, which include things like individual shares, crypto, offshore shares, ETFs, etc. These investments will not have any tax advantages, and therefore I would personally first focus on my tax-free savings account and retirement annuity for local investments. But if I were to have some extra cash left over, or if I didn't see myself retiring in South Africa, then it would make sense to diversify some of my money offshore. So I would open a US dollar account with Easy Equities and buy one well-diversified offshore ETF like the Vanguard Total World Stock ETF. This is by far the easiest and cheapest way that I've found to diversify my money offshore by using a hard currency like the US dollar. Now, if I'm young and I have a very high risk tolerance, then I might also consider adding a small amount of my investment portfolio to crypto, not more than 5%, and I would just invest it in a well-diversified crypto bundle, such as the EC10 bundle from the easycrypto.co.za platform. Note that crypto is way at the bottom of the list. So again, if you have not followed and completed the previous 6 baby steps, then you have absolutely no business YOLOing all of your money in the next coin that Jake Paul or any other influencer promotes. Baby step 7, give back. Now, if you've reached this last baby step, then you are likely way better off than 95% of other South Africans. At this point, you can decide to either pay extra into your home loan to try and pay it off earlier, or my favorite is to give back. This can be 10% of your after-tax income and can take many different forms. You can add it to your church tithe, donate it to a charity of your choice, or just give freely to the man on the street. The amount is not important, but the act of giving is liberating and will change your life. Now, if you follow these 7 baby steps, then in my opinion, you'll reach 80% of the results with 20% of the efforts. This will work for most people starting out in their investment journeys to hit that first 100,000 Rand in positive net worth.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
These strategies will help you avoid most of the costly mistakes that I see people make with their investments, and if you consistently apply yourself to save and invest every month into the platforms and funds that I mentioned before, you would be off to a great start, in my opinion. Do not try to be smart by picking individual stocks or falling for get-rich-quick schemes. Building true wealth is and should be, for the most part, boring. So block out the social media noise and rather spend some time learning and educating yourself on investments by watching the free content that I shared in the description. Now again, these are just broad recommendations and not specific advice. If you've reached a point where your net worth is more than 500,000 Rand or you are earning more than 500,000 Rand per year, then, in my opinion, it will be a good time to consult an independent financial planner to help you better structure your finances. There are obviously many other things to consider in your financial journey, like insurance, medical aid, employee benefits, estate and tax planning. And for all of these things, you will need someone by your side who can identify your blind spots and create opportunities to help you establish and build a solid financial plan. Now, I offer a specialized service called Lifestyle Financial Planning, where I do all of this and more for a fixed flat fee. So if you've reached a point in your life and career where you want to take that next step to optimize your finances in order to enable you to live your ideal life, then check out my service offering by clicking on the first link in the description.